It's my 25th birthday today. Well, not today it isn't, but when this comes out, it will be. This video is gonna be a little different than my normal vlogs. This is gonna be kind of more like an essay. I took a lot of notes, so I know what I want to say, and I don't want to mess it up. I want to make a video for my future self, just to help him out. What I wrote, the headline is Notes on Kids / How to Be a Good Dad, and that's kind of what this will be about. So why now? Why make this video now? There's a couple reasons for that. I've wanted to make this video for a long time. I would say maybe even for a decade now, since I first had the idea. So why now? One, because I'm running out of time. The point of this video is to explain, from a child's perspective, from a kid's perspective, what it means to be a good dad. And the older I get, the more life experience I have, but the further away I get from being a child. And I feel like a kid. I'm only 25, but at the same time, I'm 25. So I'm an adult. And honestly, I'm running out of time to do this, for it to still be kind of from a kid's perspective. Not only that, but I used to pride myself on having a really good memory. I used to just remember everything. Any random little thing that somebody would say, I'd be, like 6 weeks later be like, well, didn't your mom go to that one place you said? Like, did I tell you that? Why would you remember that? I don't know, why would you tell me? I can't do that anymore, really. Also, I've never really had an excuse like this before. I have no excuse not to make the video because I make a video every single week now. I never really had a platform like that where I need to be creative every week. So this is the perfect opportunity for this. I want to start by talking about one of my first memories, one of the first ones that I can remember. I believe I was 4 years old, maybe 3 or 4 years old, because I know I was in preschool. This one kid, he had a new toy that day. I think it was a new truck. Later that day, I was sitting in my family room on the couch, and I remember thinking about that kid's toy and being jealous. I didn't know it at the time that I was jealous. I didn't know what I was feeling, but I remember vividly thinking, I wish I had that kid's toy right now. And it wasn't malicious. It wasn't that I wanted to have it and him not have it. I remember the way that everybody was looking at the toy and was awestruck, admiring it. And I remember how happy he was. And when I was back home, hours later, I wanted it. I wanted that toy. And the fact that it is such a vivid memory in my mind, it was obviously, it was the first time that I really was sitting alone and I thought to myself, what is this feeling? Why do I want something that kid has? And is that wrong? Is that right? I don't know. So just know that at a young age, 3 years old, 4 years old, your kid is complex and he's having these thoughts and he's having these emotions. And just because he can't vocalize them to you, he doesn't know how to explain them. Or maybe he just keeps them to himself because he doesn't, It's not like I went to mom and dad and was like, hey, so There was this truck today, and it was brand new, and I really want it now. It doesn't work like that. I just want you to remember that memory, and know that if you were having thoughts of jealousy at 4 years old, 3 years old, imagine what is, circling around in their head right now. It's a lot of things, and they're not kid things. They're big, adult, abstract concepts that he's trying to grip right now. That's all. I don't know. All right, moving on. When I was 5 and 6 and 7, Dad coached our rec soccer team, and it was one of my favorite things in the world. It was really special because once a week, twice a week, it was our thing. We would go to practice, he would coach practice, and then on Saturday mornings, me and Dad would go play soccer. I've always known that I wanted to coach my son's soccer team, just like my dad did, because it was so special to me, and I want to do the same. But now I'm realizing, that dynamic doesn't always work out. Where a kid is the son of a coach, that doesn't always work out. I think it usually doesn't work out because that the coach is trying to relive, his glory days through his son. And Dad was not trying to do that, because he was never good at soccer. He still isn't. He wasn't an athlete. He ran cross country, and he could run a 4.5 minute mile, which is insane. I can't do that. But it wasn't about the soccer. It was about having an activity with his son. And I think that's the big takeaway. I think that's the advice, is that it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't necessarily have to be a sport. I think sports are really important, and they were a big part of my life growing up, and I think sports really shaped who I am today. Maybe it's swimming, maybe it's, I don't know, chess or tennis or painting or whatever it is. But there's something to be said about carving out specific time every week to do something together. I guess that's my advice. Just find that thing. And I know that you've always wanted to coach your son's soccer rec team. Don't force it, because you know what? The difference between me and Dad is that I played soccer growing up, so I could potentially be trying to live through my kids vicariously. So don't be afraid to just pick something else. When I was in 5th grade, I remember my birthday was on a weekday. Just so happened that was also the same day of the month where Dad had a meeting in Harrisburg. So he wasn't there. And that was the only time I think that he ever missed my birthday, and obviously it impacted me since I'm talking about it here. Birthdays are important because it's like your own little holiday growing up. And the day after your birthday, 2 days after your birthday, it doesn't matter. I remember Dad told me that he wasn't going to be there because of the meeting in Harrisburg. and that he felt bad, but there's really nothing that he could do. And I know now you can't change meetings. The real world is the real world, and that's how it operates. You can't just push back a meeting because it's your kid's birthday. I know that now, but kids don't understand the real world. So here's my advice. Okay, remember when you were in 5th grade and Dad had a meeting in Harrisburg and he missed your birthday, and how that sucked? Even though you knew it wasn't his fault and he didn't want to be there, he would rather be celebrating your birthday. Didn't change the fact that it sucked. And you know what? You knew that it wasn't a personal thing, but it sucked. Just remember that. Remember that. So it's the sun is setting, and I still have a lot more to say. So this is I don't want to film this in the dark, so I'll pick this up tomorrow. I thought a little bit more about birthdays and kids' birthdays, and this is what I think. So remember that a birthday when you're a kid it's not the same as when you're an adult. And on that note, I'm gonna hit a few more balls, and then I guess I'll go home, and it's actually Mom's birthday tonight, so I'll celebrate that. Catch up tomorrow. Got a lot to talk about. Puberty, man. Puberty. 13-year-olds. Gonna be a lot of semen and locked doors. So stay tuned for the second half of this video. If you're, well, not if you're into kids' semen. I don't want your views if that's why you're here. It's cold and wet and rainy. As far as I can remember, I left off yesterday getting ready to talk about puberty. If a door is closed, don't come in. You don't need to ask why the bathroom door is locked when your son's taking a 30-45 minute shower. You know why. You know why. Sex and girls. I remember in 5th grade, I think it was, we had a big assembly. I don't know if they split the boys and girls up or if this was a different one, but I remember this lady talking about just the science of reproduction and how the fallopian tubes release an egg and the sperm penetrates the egg, and then gestation, whatever. And I understood all of that, but what was never explained to me was how that sperm gets in there. I think it was just supposed to be common knowledge that a rock hard cock is supposed to come inside a vagina, and that was never explained to me. I don't know how crucial that that's pretty important information, but I guess what people were assuming is that you'll just figure it out, and I guess you do, but how you do. How I did was by porn, and that's not healthy. I have written down here, I think it's a good idea to watch Big Mouth with your kids, and I don't know if you should watch it together or if you should just tell them, hey, watch this show, and I hope you enjoy it. I think it'll teach you a lot. Might be good to watch together. I don't know. I don't know how that dynamic's gonna work. I just remember being 10 years old and being like, okay, so I understand that the sperm is gonna penetrate this egg, but is somebody gonna tell me how it gets there? Like, what's the process? Porn. Remember in 5th grade, it might have been 4th, I don't know, 4th or 5th grade, we were riding the bus. Some kids were talking about, you know, that they had seen naked pictures of Britney Spears. They were like, all you gotta do is you go on Google and you type in naked Britney Spears or Britney Spears nude. And we went home that day. I don't know if it was that later that day or later that week, but we looked it up. And we found exactly what we were looking for. And then we saw a lot more than what we were looking for. And we felt sick for 3 days. It was just way too young. I wasn't ready for what I saw. I felt sick for 3 days because of the guilt and the shame, and I just knew that what I had seen I wasn't supposed to see, and you know, it seemed like what they were doing in that video, you know, it was like, okay, do their parents know that they're doing this? You know, that's how I felt. It was almost like they were like captured. It was like a ransom video in my mind. I was like, okay, are they being forced to do this? Because this is scary. I think that there needs to be a really serious discussion about porn, because God knows what it's gonna be like when you have a kid. Probably VR, probably a lot of VR porn. I remember Dad had a conversation with me, and he basically said, you know what, there's nothing wrong with looking at, you know, sexy pictures of women's bodies. That's natural. But the video stuff, it's no good. And I, you know, by that point, I didn't even know that there were like images, you know, it was just videos. So I kind of was like, you don't know what you're talking about. I just nodded along like, yeah, the video stuff is bad. It is. You don't want to shame your kids. And there's nothing shameful about sex, and there's nothing shameful about responsible, safe sex. And there's nothing shameful about watching porn. To equate responsible, safe sex with porn is dangerous. And I think that's an important distinction that has to be made at some point before expectations are set at fucking MILF teachers blowing their students. You know, that doesn't happen. And when it does, it's a crime. So rather than trying to hide it, I think it's better to just have a more open discussion about it. Like, I talk about porn and sex with my friends and my brothers. Not like a ton, but it comes up and it's a normal conversation. So just make it a normal conversation. It doesn't have to be this weird thing. Remember Howie? Remember this guy? Hello, my big boy. Yeah, you're a big boy. Time for the memory that first made me want to make a video like this. I think I was 15 or 16, it was right before I could drive. And when my mom would drive me somewhere, a lot of the times I would put my headphones in and just listen to music. But again, on her end, silent drive with her son that didn't really, you know, it's like a chauffeur almost. There's no conversation. I think mom's even said like, why don't you talk to me? And I truly just think the answer is because I was 15. When I was 15, 16, I remember just thinking, I wish I could just explain to my mom that it's not her. I wish that she could just know that it's me. I want to do my own thing right now. It's not personal against her. So this is me saying that, Mom. Sorry for putting headphones in. when you drove me to my friend's place. I didn't really realize it, that that's kind of a shitty thing to do, but it's the most 15-year-old thing to do that I can think of. So, Jack, just be ready for it and know that your kid's not out to piss you off. I mean, he might be. Maybe I'm weird, but I never wanted to piss my parents off. That's never been a motivation of mine. And maybe that's because I have good parents, but just remember that not everything is a personal attack on you. It's, most of the time, it's something personal for them. All right, okay. Let's do another set. Okay, this section is about drugs and alcohol and trust. Obviously, you know that alcoholism runs in the family, runs in the Elliott family line. You and Mom have had a lot of fights about drugs and alcohol. And at least the way it seems from your perspective is that Mom thinks that if you're an Elliott, then, you know, you're an alcoholic and that it runs in your blood. And I understand where she's coming from. She's coming from a place of concern and love and worry. It's scary to think that your kid could become an addict, so I understand that. But on top of that, you need trust. You need to trust your kids because you can't make decisions for them and you can't control them. You can only help guide them and help them make better decisions. But drugs and alcohol aren't to be feared. They're a part of life, and they're a part of friendships and relationships and social gatherings. And to scare someone into being safe, it's not the right tactic. If your kid wants to have a sip of beer before they're 21, that's probably the best thing that they could do. Be like, oh, this isn't some foreign, some weird, crazy thing. It's just a beer. It's just a beer. And yeah, obviously, alcoholism, it does run in the family. Just have that conversation with them. Sit them down, be like, hey, the hand that we were dealt, the hand that you were dealt, if you look at our family history, alcoholism runs in our family. I'm not an alcoholic, and I'm not saying that you are, but it does mean that you have to be a little bit more mindful of responsible drinking than your friends might have to be. The problem isn't enjoying drinking, you know, that doesn't make you an alcoholic. The problem is when you don't want to be sober, you know, dependence is a problem. And know that if you ever think that you have a problem, let them know that they can come to you and they should be able to trust you and feel safe and not judged. The worst thing that you can do is judge someone and have prejudged them about something that they haven't even done. This last section, I didn't even write in my notes. I was just thinking, I feel like it's an important thing to talk about, and it's love and relationships and girls, I guess. All I want to say is that I want you to think back about your first relationships and how special they were and how real it was, that it was genuine and that they were important. I think it's easy to dismiss young love and kids and their first relationships as just, you know, oh, they're just being silly kids. No, they're not. What they're feeling is just as real and genuine as a relationship at 25, 30, any age, relationships are real and connections are real. When you're young and in love, or, you know, maybe you're not in love, but you have genuine feelings and a real connection with someone, that's special. And it's special for a lot of reasons, but one of them is because it's kind of new. It's a new experience, and you only have one first love. And personally, you know, we don't downplay that, so why would you downplay somebody else's? I just want you to remember how you felt when you were 16 or, you know, 18, and how real and valid your emotions were, because they were. And Just don't forget that.